Hey guys, Literary Prepper back again. So in my little pot in front of me here, we have some lily-pilly berries. So for those of you who are not aware, lily-pilly berries are edible. You can eat them. Apparently you can make lily-pilly champagne with them, which I have not tried yet, but it's definitely on my list of things to do at some stage in the future. But what I'm doing with these little guys is I am making jam. Now, we don't have lily-pilly trees of our own, however, I was driving past my parents' and neighbour's house the other day, and they have several really big lily-pilly trees out the front of their house. It's been raining a fair amount recently, and the trees are full of fruit, and it's just dropping onto the ground and basically just rotting, or the bugs and possums are getting into it. So I decided if the possums are getting some, then I may as well. So for those of you who have never seen lily-pilly berries, that's what these little guys look like. They're usually bright red when they're on the tree. These little guys have been boiling away for about 10 minutes or so. So they're just doing their thing. You can see, if I bring the camera over, the water, if you can see that, is starting to turn pink with all the juice coming out of these yummy little berries. Now, I don't mind the flavour of these little guys, but a lot of people find them a little bit too tart to eat on their own. So people sort of like a lot of things that have very sour or very tart flavour. People turn them into jam. So rather than having all these little berries rotting away on the ground, that's what we're going to do. So as I said, these guys have been in here for about 10 minutes. We're going to leave them in here for probably another 20 or 30 minutes and then come back and check on them. So basically you want to sort of wash them off, obviously, because we don't know what they've put on the berries previously. They're not our trees. But you want to wash them off really, really well, get all the ants and sticks and whatever off them. Put them in a big pot like this, or a saucepan. Put just enough water in there to cover the berries themselves, and then you want to pop them on a stove top and boil them until the fruit is all soft and mushy and stuff. So, as I said, we're going to leave this to do its thing, and we're going to come back and check on them when they're a little bit more boiled. Okay, and we're back. Our berries have been doing their thing and they're all nice and soft and stuff. So now I have a secondary saucepan, a strainer, and we are going to take the big pot of the boiled berries and the juices and stuff, and we're going to tip them out very carefully, straining off all that nice pink juice. Woo! Okay. There's a couple of little leftovers in here. Plonk them in. Now, there's, a whole heap of people out there that get a little bit funny about the colour of their jam. I'm not one of those people. Apparently, if you mush the berries down, then your jam will turn out cloudy. Well, I don't really fancy going out and getting a whole heap more berries to, that's my oven, a whole heap of more berries to continue this process, so I'm going to mush all the juice out of my berries to get the maximum amount of juice. As you can hear, there is still quite a lot of juice left in these berries, and I don't want to waste any of it. dig these through. Now, depending on what your taste buds are like, some people also add some lemon juice to these guys. So if you want your jam to be a little bit more citrusy or a little bit more tart, then feel free to add the juice of a couple of lemons if that's what you're after, a couple of limes if you prefer lime juice added to things. I'm not going to add any citrus juices because I just want the pure berry goodness. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we have strained these little guys about as much as we're going to get out of them, or as much as I can be bothered to get out of them at this point in time. Try not to burn myself. Alright, so I'm going to pop these on the sink. And I'm going to put my lovely pink juice back into the original pot. Okay, and then I'm going to get my sugar. And you want to add about 1 cup of sugar for every cup of berry juice approximately that you have in the mix. I'm just going to eyeball that. I'm going to say I've got about 2 cups. I'm not going to get too scientific about it. Okay, so there is 1 cup. Grab another sugar, give them a bit of a shake because I like to store my sugar in pasta jars, and depending on what the weather was like on the day that I put the sugar in the jar, sometimes, as you can sort of see there, it gets a tad lumpy and you need to sort of break them up a little bit. But sugar is one of those forever foods, so it doesn't really matter because it just dissolves away the same that it would if it was, you know, in more granular form, like what you would normally expect. Alright, so we pop the heat back on and we grab our big spoon again. Now from here we actually have to sort of keep a bit of an eye on it because even though it takes a little bit longer to sort of do its thing, well, I'm a little bit impatient, so everything takes longer than what I would like it to. But sugar has a tendency to get away on you, and you do not want to burn your jam because then you've got to throw it all out and start again, which would mean going back and foraging under berry trees, you know, until I get another couple of bags of berries. So, as I said, it's going to take a little while, so I'm going to pause you guys again, and we'll come back to this when we're a little bit closer to being done. That ding that you heard before was my oven going off. So, oh, sorry, autofocus. That ding was my oven going off. So while this has been doing its thing, I have some jars in the oven. They're on about 60 degrees. They've been in there for about half an hour or so, basically sort of killing anything that wasn't previously boiled off. And I've got the lids separately soaking in some boiled water. Now I've done that after scrubbing them thoroughly with, dishwashing liquid and water, and make sure that you kill all of the nasties. I also like to initially sort of put some vinegar in them just to make sure that I have absolutely killed everything, and then you rinse the vinegar out. With home jarred stuff, the biggest issue that you have is botulism, and that stuff can kill you. So you want to make sure that you sterilize the crap out of everything that you use for some sort of holding container. So this is already starting to bubble away, so hopefully it won't take too long. So basically, to tell that it's ready, you can be smart and buy a candy thermometer, which I don't have because they're expensive. The other thing that you can do is you can get a plate and pop it in the freezer, and or really, really cold cup of water. And if you think that your mixture is getting close to gel point, you pop a little drop on your plate and run a knife through it, and if it grabs, then it's at gel point. Similarly, if you sort of drop it into the water and it holds its form for a little bit, then it's getting close to gel point. This is going to take a little while to actually cook down because, as I said, sugar sort of takes a little while, but when it gets to the point where it's getting close, it goes really fast. So we'll come back in, I would say not even a couple of minutes, and check on this little guy. So yeah, at the moment, that is what we look like. Alright, we'll come back soon. Okay, and we have reached gel point. So you can see in there, that is bubbling away something fierce. It's starting to settle down now because I've just turned the heat off. But if we come down here to my little spot, and you probably can't see this very well, but I'm going to show you anyway. So this plate has been in the freezer while this has been boiling, and if you get the knife tip and you just drag it through, then you can see, if you look very, very closely, it starts to stick and it's starting to gel up really nicely. So that is our jammy consistency. This stuff tastes amazing. It's so sweet. Not sickly sweet, but jammy sweet, which, considering the amount of sugar in it, it should be sweet. So from here, what I'm going to do, I'm not going to show you guys because it's probably going to involve a lot of swearing because I'm dealing with hot stuff. But I have my jars that I've just gotten out of the oven that have been sitting there being all, sterile and non-germy. I'm going to put the jam straight into those warm glasses before they cool down so they don't crack when I put the hot stuff into them. And then I'm going to put the jars on really, really quickly, because what you want is for basically the jar to sort of suck in on itself because all the oxygen has expanded, and you want to get the lid on and you want to sort of keep as much air out of it as possible. So yeah, it's up to you guys whether you store that on the shelf or whether you store that in the fridge. It depends on the sort of the temperature of where you guys are. It's quite hot and humid where we are, so even though it's got huge amounts of sugar in there that act as a preservative, and as I said, we've basically sort of tried to eliminate the oxygen in the jar by working while everything is still very hot, I still keep things in the fridge just to be safe. But under ideal conditions, you can leave this in the cupboard and it will last for a really, really, really long time if you don't eat it. And as with all condiments, if you do live in a hot and humid area like we do, put condiments in the fridge once you've opened them, because you don't want to sort of come back in a week's time and find that you've got little friends growing in the jar. And yeah, that's how to make Lilly Pilly jam. You can repeat the process with pretty much any fruit. So last week I made marmalade. So yeah, whatever fruit's in season, have a go at it and have fun. And if you guys found this interesting, as usual, like, share, subscribe, feel free to comment below. Tell us if you decide to try this and if your neighbour's fruit tastes just as good as my parents' neighbour's fruit. Alright, I'll talk to you guys later.